Welcome to the Astral Weather Report. I'm Jeremy Gene Wilson with the Light Army, and I come on here every 6 days to share with you the cosmic astrological shifts in our neutrino weather. Right? You might not be able to see it with your eyes, but this electrical influence affects the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we interact with others. So rather than this be confusing or create conflict for you or become a distraction, it's something you can leverage, you can use to your benefit, you can align with it. So the theme for this next 6 days is expressed breakthrough and what you can expect mentally and emotionally. This cycle, this transit really activates innovation, right? You might just have sudden downloads and insight and this internal pressure to express what maybe other people might not immediately understand. So it could be easy to have a little verbal diarrhea, say more than is required. People might feel just sudden mental breakthroughs or realizations. It's a really empowering energy, but there can be some frustration when the ideas aren't received cleanly and clearly, right? So it's how it's communicated that matters the most. So you're going to feel this desire to simplify complex thoughts into easy to understand, explain, and share with other concepts. So there might be just a little bit of increased sensitivity around communication and being and feeling misunderstood. And this is disruptive clarity energy, right? Even inside ourselves, like you could feel a sense of indecision. Ambiguity is the enemy of clarity, and when you're feeling ambiguity, it's the same as fear or stress, right? There's so many worst case, best case scenarios running in our mind. It can make you neurotic. So insights are going to come quick. You'll feel downloads come and go. The challenge is, how do I translate that effectively in a relevant way? So this week really teaches us that breakthrough creates impact when it's understandable. We can't create an impact and we can't create breakthrough if we can't explain it, we can't even understand the concepts in our life. So the sun has moved into the 23rd signature. This in human design terms is the gate of assimilation. Some call it the gate of simplification or the gate of expression. In I Ching, we call it splitting apart, and it can show up in a distorted way just by oversharing, right? TMI 101. Sharing more than required, forcing ideas down other people's throats, and frustration through the misunderstandings that come from that, right? So I highly encourage you, communicate clearly. What does that look like? If there's conflict to be resolved, CPR. Here's the, conflict, content, circumstance, the problem, the pattern that I want to avoid and prevent. And here's the resolution, resolve, and the result I'm seeking from this, right? You really want to, like one of my old mentors, Les Brown, said to me one time, Jeremy, you have amazing energy, you understand complex, systems and processes, go become a genius. And what he meant by that, he was paraphrasing Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein said, to make the complex simple to understand is the true form of genius. And so elegant simplification, breaking things down into the most fundamental principles, deductive logic and reason, what, why, when, and how. What I want to share is versus what I don't want to share, what my intention is, how this will save us time, energy, money, and pain in the future, when this matters, how we apply this, right? Just simplify everything down to its core principles. So, and then be grounded in expression. You can't share something like a freaking wildfire and roll over top of people and expect them to have the same excitement or the same urgency in which you shared it from. So the core lesson of, the 23rd signature is just that wisdom becomes power. Wisdom becomes powerful when it's communicated in simplicity. When you don't overthink it, you just break it down in simple terms, communicate it with as least amount of words and least amount of energy and emotion as possible. So this is paired with the Earth currently in a transit, the 43rd signature, human design. We call gate 43 the gate of breakthrough or the gate of insight. It's also known as the gate of inner knowing. In the I Ching, it's breakthrough. So this can show up in a distorted way by over isolating, withdrawing, staying in a little tunnel instead of like actually working through the ideas and doing your best to communicate with simple clarity. So from that can create more neuroticism, more mental pressure. The more time you're by yourself thinking about yourself, the more stressed out, the more cortisol you're going to experience. So, if you have a story or a belief that no one understands me anyway, anytime I try and talk, it's just rejected, whatever, that's your stories, and you're gonna limit the way you view the world, and your state's gonna remain small and retracted, and this is an expansive energy. So the way to align with this is, whatever the original insight was, write it down. Voice to text is real time as you can to capture the essence, the energy, and the ideas and clarity. But innovation is the cause. Like, these aren't ideas to go off into another forest. It's a lot of our insights are how to make what we're doing better, how to increase our performance, our efficiency, how to move toward an outcome in a simpler path. So, try not to reinvent the wheel, or, have insights, innovations that send you in a different direction, a different industry, a different market, left field, right? This is transformative realization. These are ideas that help us, improve, become more efficient. Like I said, achieve our outcomes faster. So the core lesson of the 43rd signature is that breakthroughs often show up, they often arrive before the world is ready for them. So it's our job to compress that into both a system, and then pay attention to the what, why, when, and how, the timing of when we present that. So this next week, just avoid forcing people to understand your ideas immediately, or over explaining your insights, dismissing unconventional ideas, and speaking before you actually have clarity. Make sure you have clarity first before you just start speaking. Go sit, be still, journal if you have to, create a Benjamin Franklin list, the pros, the cons. And the way to leverage this is just simplify complex ideas. What's a metaphor? What's a simple explanation? What's the outcome? Like I said, definitely when the insights come, capture them immediately. Don't go, I'm going to journal on that later. Like, take out your notes in your phone or your voice memo and just record it. Drop in, and you'll find some stuff come through that you didn't expect. That if you try and come back later, makes it more difficult, because you forget the context of what sparked and ignited and activated that idea. And oftentimes it's the context connected that makes it so difficult to communicate an idea. Just definitely trust when there's innovative thinking. Don't abandon it. There's sometimes that we, try to fix something that's not broken, but that's not innovation. Fixing what's broken is not innovation. Oftentimes innovation is making something even better than what it already is. And I think that's the law of the universe: to expand, to grow. The 6 human needs: growth and contribution. So if it's going to allow you to grow, and it's going to allow you to contribute, that's where you want to trust innovative thinking the most. And just translate practical solutions and language from your insights, right? Take your wisdom and put it into practical language. Like, dumb it down. If you're not sure what that means, like, go open Hemingway app. There's a writing principle called Hemingway. Allows you to take your notes, take your writings, take your content, throw it in this filter, and it'll tell you what level it is. You want to break down even your words into the most, like, 3rd to 5th grade level. That's the way the human mind thinks. We don't think in complex collegiate words. We think in short form, simple 3rd and 5th grade words. So do everything you can to really simplify things into that practical language. And the best way to get the most out of this transit, like I said, just write down your ideas instantly when they come. Practice simplifying just like one complex concept or topic at a time. Pause before you over explain new insights. If you're trying to explain something that's not landing, go, hey, let me pause and get reset and a little clarity. What I want to share and the intention for sharing it is, and if you need to come back, hey, can I come back in 5 minutes with some clarity so that this is more productive for both parties, or with your team, or as a parent, whatever that is. It's more important you share ideas with clarity and simplicity than urgency, and make sure that you protect some quiet space and put some quiet space on the calendar to access that clarity, right? Like I said, to break things down into first principles logic. A couple questions to be with this week. What breakthrough insight am I being asked to trust, right? Like, where is it, like you have this breakthrough, you've received a download, you've received an insight, but you're not fully trusting it. You're like, yeah, but, right? And then externally, like, how can I communicate complexity more clearly? And I think that's the biggest piece people struggle with. The easiest way to communicate more clearly is practice, right? Like I speak on stages quite a bit, and I train people how to speak on stage. And there's this saying, right? If you want me to speak for an hour, hand me the microphone. If you want me to speak for 20 minutes, give me a week to prepare. If you want me to speak for 5 minutes, give me a month to prepare. And that's the point, right? If you want to communicate complexity more clearly, you've got to spend more time condensing down the language, understanding basic concepts where you can tie in anchors of understanding easier than having run-on sentences and paragraphs. And I still am constantly seeking to improve this so that when I have a small window, and it is someone that hands me the mic, that I've already spent years condensing down that topic into an easy to digest subject matter and metaphors and anchors to share it in simplicity. So definitely this week, know that there will be a back and forth energy. There's going to be inspiration and frustration. Be with it. You'll find your common ground in the center. Make sure that you're performing daily rituals and habits so that your mind is disciplined and your emotions are nurtured. So when things come up, that you feel whole and complete, not fractured and broken. And most importantly, this next week, give yourself a little grace, right? Journal. But you don't have to do everything with every idea. Like I said, sometimes the timing is 3 weeks later. Maybe we don't have the full clarity. Maybe it's 2 days, maybe it's 2 hours, but sometimes it's 2 years. There's ideas that I've been ruminating on for 15 years that just now are starting to find traction because they match with the timeline we're on and they didn't before. So just remember that all seeds grow at different speeds, right? You can plant a bean, water it, it sprouts in 2 days. In 2 weeks, it yields fruit, and within 3 weeks, it's dead and dies. It's run its whole cycle. And you can plant a bamboo seed and water it every day for 2 years. It looks like dirt, looks like nothing's happening, and then it shoots up hundreds of feet and stands for hundreds of years. So don't rush insight, and don't put urgency onto anything that you can't predict. Respectfully. So anyway, this week we start a new cycle inside the Breakthrough Lab. Every 12 weeks, we start over with a 10-week cycle, and we shift between evolving your being and expanding your empire. So we give you the tools to break through in business, especially right now. This next cycle, we're going to go into a lot more details of what's happening in 2026 for branding, marketing, sales, systems, automations, recruiting, how to build a culture that will walk on fire for you, and how to build a company, not a job, right? How to scale a business that you can sell. And so we'll be sharing tools, utilizing soul science as well as practical, relevant, right now 2026 proven methods, all the way from the most organic to the most advanced technology and AI assisted tools. And then on the other side, every other week, we will give you the inner breakthroughs, right? We'll help you install the identity to sustain that success long term. And this is stuff that really works. We just ran our first 10-week cycle, and we're about to begin again this week. I'll share more details. You'll see an email. If you want to be a part of that, go to lightarmy.com/lab. This time we're going to start promoting this when we hit 100 members in our school group. We're going to close the doors. It'll be a paid ticket. So anyone that's in there before then will be grandfathered in. I'd love to see you in there. In the meantime, remember what you are. One more piece of news. We are launching the 21-day challenge. Over this next week, you'll also see inside our community, the Light Army community inside school, you will see that we're going to launch a 21-day challenge. It aligns with soul science and a daily ritual to increase your voltage so you show up with more energy, more fire, more focus. You're a distraction assassin. You have the ability to turn pressure, stress, and any kind of frustration into fuel and fire to move toward your goals so that you can serve more people, expand your prosperity with more ease, and shine your soul authentically in the world. So if you want to be a part of that, reach out to me or join the school community, and we'll get you the details. In the meantime, infinite love. Remember what you are. Remember what you are not. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You're not your past. You're not your future. You're not your belongings. You're not your bank account. You are the soul in control. You are in charge. You are the electrical toroidal energy field. When you breathe in, can't see it, but that light field expands. As you exhale, it retracts. So remember what you are. I am. We are the light. Shine on.